What if I told you that at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean lies a city larger than Manhattan? A city that has existed thanks to a source of endless energy for millions of years? And China has just discovered it. What you are about to see will forever change the way you think about our planet and the future of humanity. 3,000 meters under the water, complete darkness, pressure that would crush a human in seconds. The Chinese submersible Fendosia slowly descends to the coordinates of what has become the most important discovery of the 21st century. The water temperature is only 2 degrees above zero. Sunlight has never reached this place throughout the entire history of the Earth. And suddenly, out of the absolute darkness, they appear. Gigantic structures that look like skyscrapers from a science fiction movie. But these are not decorations. This is real. Welcome to Kun Lun, the underwater metropolis not built by humans, but which might save our future. To understand the scale of this discovery, imagine New York's Central Park multiplied by 4. That is the size of Kun Lun, 11 square kilometers of underwater structures. This is 100 times larger than the famous Lost City in the Atlantic Ocean, which until now was considered the largest hydrothermal field on the planet. But size is not even the most impressive part. Kun Lun consists of 20 giant craters. Imagine funnels big enough to hold an entire city block, each one between 500 meters and 1.5 kilometers across. The depth of some reaches 130 meters. If you place the Statue of Liberty at the bottom, its torch would barely stick out from the crater. The walls of these craters are so steep they look like kimberlite pipes, the very geological structures where diamonds are formed. When the Chinese first saw these structures, they could not believe their eyes. It took 4 months to map the entire complex. Every dive brought new discoveries, and every dive revealed more and more about how our planet works. From the giant underwater craters gush streams of something that could change the future of humanity. Pure hydrogen. Not the hydrogen we make in laboratories, spending huge amounts of electricity, but natural hydrogen, created by the Earth itself in a process scientists call serpentinization. Imagine this. Deep under the ocean floor, seawater seeps through cracks and meets hot rocks of the Earth's mantle. When iron and magnesium in the rocks react with water, the result is new minerals, and the byproduct is pure hydrogen. It is like a giant underground factory that has been running nonstop for millions of years. Here begins the most incredible part. Scientists measured the output of this natural factory, and the numbers are staggering. Kun Lun alone produces enough hydrogen to fuel 100 million cars every year. That is 8% of all the natural hydrogen released by every known underwater vent on the planet combined. In a single day, Kun Lun produces more hydrogen than all of Germany does in a month. To understand the scale, let's turn it into money. At today's prices for hydrogen fuel, the yearly output of Kun Lun is worth about $6 billion. Every year, without a break, for millions of years already. And this is just one site out of hundreds more that may still be waiting to be discovered in the depths of the oceans. But Kun Lun is not just a deposit. It is a whole ecosystem that forces us to rethink our ideas about life. In complete darkness, 3 kilometers under the sea, under crushing pressure, where the temperature is just above freezing, there is a whole universe of life. When the submersible's cameras lit up the crater floors, researchers saw a real underwater zoo. Thousands of shrimp the size of a man's hand swarmed near the hot vents. Their shells glittered in the lights like precious gems. Nearby, squat lobsters the size of a cat crawled slowly. Sea anemones as big as dinner plates swayed in the currents, while tube worms up to a meter long poked out of cracks in the rocks. But the most amazing thing, these creatures do not just survive in such extreme conditions. They thrive, and their secret is that they have learned to feed on hydrogen. More precisely, special bacteria inside their bodies turn hydrogen into energy for life. This is called chemosynthesis, getting energy not from the sun, but from chemical reactions. Imagine if you learned how to eat electricity. That is more or less how these creatures live. They literally feed on the energy that the planet itself produces. No sunlight, no photosynthesis, only pure chemistry of life. And do you know what is amazing? Some of these organisms, thanks to hydrogen, can live for hundreds of years, almost without aging. It seems that in these deep hydrogen vents may lie the secret of immortality that humanity has been searching for thousands of years. This discovery made scientists rethink theories about where and how life began on Earth. 4 billion years ago, our planet was completely different. The atmosphere was made up of poisonous gases, the oceans were boiling, and asteroids constantly bombarded the surface. Life on the surface and in the atmosphere of the planet simply could not exist. But even then, deep in the oceans, there were already places similar to Kun Lun. The conditions here almost perfectly match what scientists call the primordial soup, the chemical environment in which the first living molecules on Earth appeared. Hydrogen, alkaline water, metallic surfaces, stable temperature, everything needed for the origin of life. Kun Lun is much older than the dinosaurs, but it is still active today. Moreover, Kun Lun could be the key to the search for life in space. Similar conditions exist on the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, Europa and Enceladus. Beneath their icy crusts are oceans where the same serpentinization processes are taking place. If life can thrive in Kun Lun, then why could it not exist somewhere out there, in the depths of space? Let's return to Earth, because the discovery of Kun Lun relates not only to our past but also to our future. We are standing at the edge of the hydrogen age. Electricity was the energy of the 20th century, but hydrogen will be the fuel of the 21st century. Why is hydrogen so important? Because it is the perfect fuel. When it burns, it does not release carbon dioxide or produce toxic waste. The only product is pure water. Hydrogen can replace gasoline in cars, kerosene in airplanes, and gas in homes. Hydrogen power plants could supply entire cities with energy without a single gram of harmful emissions. Japan is already building a hydrogen society. By 2030, they plan to move all public transport to hydrogen. South Korea is investing billions in hydrogen technology. Europe has adopted a hydrogen economy strategy. Even oil giants like Saudi Aramco are investing in hydrogen projects. The only problem is that producing hydrogen still requires huge amounts of energy. To obtain hydrogen using traditional methods, water must be split with electricity. And electricity is still mostly made from fossil fuels. It becomes a closed circle. But Kun Lun and places like it can break that circle. Nature has been producing hydrogen completely free for millions of years. We just need to learn how to collect it. And technologies for this are already being developed. Norwegian engineers have built underwater stations to collect natural hydrogen. The Japanese are testing systems for underwater gas extraction. American startups are also working on technologies for transporting hydrogen from the seabed. Of course, this is not an easy task. Working at a depth of 3 kilometers is a technical challenge on the level of space programs. One must deal with corrosion from seawater, crushing pressure, and the distance from shore. But humanity has already solved similar challenges. We extract oil at depths of several kilometers. We build underwater pipelines and internet cables thousands of kilometers long. Moreover, Kun Lun may not be unique, but only the first of many. Oceans cover 70% of the Earth's surface, yet we have explored less than 30% of the ocean floor. How many more such cities with endless sources of clean energy are hidden in the depths? Recent studies show that serpentinization may be happening in far more places than we thought. Every large fault of the ocean floor, every underwater mountain range, could potentially hide hydrogen vents. Picture a map of the future where instead of oil rigs, the oceans are covered with hydrogen stations, where tankers transport not oil, but compressed hydrogen, where every coastal country has access to clean energy right off its shores. This is not science fiction. This should become reality within the next 20 to 30 years. The speed of technological progress in the past decade shows that humanity is capable of incredible breakthroughs. From the Wright brothers' first flight to the moon landing, it took only 66 years. From the invention of the internet to smartphones, 20 years. From the first Tesla electric cars to mass production of electric vehicles worldwide, 15 years. The hydrogen revolution could happen even faster because all the technological parts already exist. They only need to be scaled up and made cheaper. And the discovery of natural hydrogen sources like Kun Lun will become the catalyst of this process. While you were watching this video, Kun Lun produced hydrogen worth $100,000 every minute for millions of years already. But there are also important questions that must be solved. The main one is, how can hydrogen be extracted without destroying unique ecosystems? The creatures that live in Kun Lun have been evolving for millions of years. They may hold secrets not only about the origin of life, but also about its future. Perhaps the solution is to study natural process and reproduce them artificially. If we understand the mechanism of serpentinization, we will be able to create hydrogen under controlled conditions without interfering with natural ecosystems. Some laboratories are already working in this direction. They are trying to recreate the conditions of underwater hydrothermal vents in reactors on land. The results are modest so far, but every new discovery brings us closer to understanding nature's recipe for hydrogen. The discovery of Kun Lun is also changing the geopolitical landscape. Countries with access to such sources may become new energy superpowers. China has already announced plans to actively study and possibly develop underwater hydrogen deposits. Norway, Canada, Australia, all countries with long coastlines are starting programs to search for underwater hydrogen sources. This could lead to a new division of the oceans, similar to what happened with oil fields in the 20th century. But there is also a more optimistic scenario. Hydrogen sources could become the foundation for international cooperation. Oceans know no borders, and their resources could belong to all of humanity. Because beyond direct hydrogen extraction, studying such places gives us fundamental knowledge about how our planet works. Every dive to Kun Lun brings new discoveries about Earth's deep processes, the chemistry of life, and the possibilities of existence under extreme conditions. This knowledge is already being applied in many fields. Biotech companies are studying enzymes from bacteria in hydrothermal vents to create new medicines and unlock the secrets of longevity. Space agencies are using the experience of studying underwater ecosystems to prepare missions to Jupiter's and Saturn's moons. Material scientists are examining minerals from such places to create new alloys and ceramics. Kun Lun is not just an energy deposit. It is a natural laboratory that can answer the most fundamental questions about life, energy, and the future of humanity. Every molecule of hydrogen, every bacterium, every mineral here is a piece of the puzzle we have been trying to solve for thousands of years. And perhaps the most important discovery is still ahead, because Kun Lun has shown us that our planet is full of surprises, that in the most unexpected places, answers to the most important questions may be hidden, that the future of humanity may lie not in the stars, but beneath the ocean's surface. China has not just found an underwater deposit. They have opened the door to a new era, an era of clean energy, sustainable development, and harmony with nature. An era when energy will be endless and its use safe for the planet. Kun Lun is the city of the future that already exists beside us. All that remains is to learn how to be worthy of its gift.